I wasn't supposed to be home that early. But as I stepped inside our house, the sound of laughter drifted down the hallway. A light, intimate laugh, one I had heard countless times before. My wife's laugh. A chill ran down my spine. Something felt off. I set my keys down quietly, my pulse quickening as I walked toward the bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open just enough to see inside, and that's when my world shattered. There they were. My wife, lying in our bed, tangled in the sheets, her bare shoulder exposed. And next to her, shirtless, relaxed, my father. For a moment, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. But then she giggled, a soft, playful sound as she ran her fingers over his chest. And that was when my body caught up with my mind. The breath rushed out of my lungs like I'd been punched. I kicked the door open. The laughter died instantly. She gasped, scrambling to pull the sheets up over herself. My father shot up, eyes wide with shock. "Adam," he started, but I didn't let him finish. "What the hell is this?" My voice thundered through the room. My wife, the woman I loved, looked at me like a deer caught in headlights. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. My father, the man who raised me, had the audacity to look ashamed. As if shame could fix this. The air was thick with the stench of betrayal. I took a step forward, my fists clenched at my sides. My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear over the blood rushing in my ears. "How long?" My voice was dangerously low now. They exchanged a look. A look. Like they were partners in crime. My wife swallowed hard. "Adam, How long?" I roared. She flinched. My father ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my eyes. "A few months," he admitted, his voice too calm. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that didn't even feel like mine. Months? They had been sneaking behind my back for months? I turned to my wife, my hands shaking. You told me you loved me. Was that a lie?" Tears welled in her eyes. "It's not that simple." "Oh, it's simple," I snapped. "You're a cheater, a liar. And you?" I turned to my father, my rage boiling over. "You're a disgusting excuse for a man." "Son, listen. Don't you dare call me that." Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. And then, something inside me snapped. I stormed out of the house, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The cool evening air hit me like a slap, but it wasn't enough to numb the rage crawling under my skin. I paced back and forth in the driveway, trying to make sense of what had just happened. But deep down, a sickening realization crept in. The signs had been there. I just didn't want to see them. The late-night texts she always turned her phone away to read. The sudden weekend visits to my father's house, even when I wasn't around. The distance that had crept into our marriage, excuses about being tired, stressed, not in the mood. The way she had started defending him more often, even in the smallest disagreements. I had told myself I was paranoid, that she loved me, that she would never betray me. God, what an idiot I was. I clenched my jaw, my fists curling until my nails dug into my palms. They thought they could do this to me and just get away with it? Not a chance. I wasn't done with them. Not yet. I stormed back inside. They were still in the bedroom, my wife now wearing a robe, my father buttoning his shirt like he hadn't just destroyed his own son. "Get out," I spat at him. He sighed. "Adam, get out!" For a moment, I thought he was going to argue. But then he grabbed his jacket and walked past me, avoiding my eyes. Coward? I turned to my wife. She looked like she had aged 5 years in the last 10 minutes. Her eyes were red, her face pale. "Adam," she whispered. "Don't." My voice was ice. She swallowed. "I never wanted to hurt you." I laughed again. "Then maybe you shouldn't have slept with my father." Tears streamed down her face now. "It wasn't supposed to happen." I shook my head. "Oh, so you just tripped and landed in bed with him? Please, let's talk." "Talk? Talk about what?" I stepped closer, my voice rising again. "How you humiliated me. How you threw away our marriage for some cheap thrill. she sobbed, covering her face. But I felt nothing. No pity, no sadness, only rage. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "You're leaving." Her head snapped up. "What?" "You heard me. Get out. Pack your stuff and get the hell out of my house." She hesitated. "Adam, please," I pointed to the door. "Now." She stood there for a long moment, shaking. But when she saw the look on my face, she knew. This was over. Without another word, she turned and left the room. And just like that, the woman I once loved was gone. As I stood alone in that empty bedroom, the reality of what had happened finally hit me. My wife had betrayed me. My own father had stabbed me in the back. And I had let them. No more. This wasn't just about heartbreak. This wasn't just about pain. This was war. And I wasn't walking away without a fight. I didn't stay to listen to their pathetic excuses. I didn't need to. I turned around and walked out, slamming the door behind me. My hands were shaking, my heart hammering in my chest. But my mind was already racing with a single thought. They were going to pay for this. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about justice. By the time I got into my car, my phone was already buzzing. Her name flashed on the screen. Violet. I stared at it, my jaw clenching so hard it ached. What did she even think she could say? It was a mistake? It didn't mean anything? I let the phone ring. Then I blocked her number. My father? I didn't even check. Whatever he had to say, I didn't want to hear it. He was already dead to me. Instead, I drove straight to my lawyer's office. Thomas Monroe had been my attorney for years. A no-nonsense, sharp-minded man who thrived on winning cases. When I stormed into his office and told him everything, he leaned back in his chair, his expression shifting from shock to calculated interest. "Jesus Christ," he muttered, rubbing his jaw. "Your wife? And your father?" "Yeah," I said, through gritted teeth. "And I don't just want a divorce, I want to destroy her." His eyes darkened. "Lucky for you, we have the perfect weapon, your prenup." Violet had made a huge mistake when she signed that prenuptial agreement. At the time, she had called it just a formality, laughing as she kissed me and promised we'd never need it. Well, she needed it now, because the contract was airtight. It stated that in the event of infidelity, she would walk away with nothing. No alimony, no rights to the house, no claim to my assets, nothing. "File the papers immediately," I told Thomas. "I want her out of my house, today." He smirked. "Consider it done." A week later, I received a text from Violet. Violet. "Adam, please, can we talk? I made a mistake. I love you. Don't do this." I ignored it. Hours later, I got another. "Violet, I just got served. Please, can we fix this?" "Fix this?" "Fix what?" "My trust? My marriage? The image of her in bed with my father? The only thing that needed fixing was her thinking she could get away with this." Later that evening, I came home to find her waiting for me on the porch. She looked like a wreck, her eyes red from crying, her hands trembling as she clutched the divorce papers. "Adam," she whispered as I walked past her. I didn't stop. "Adam, please, we can fix this." I unlocked the door and stepped inside. Then I turned around and met her desperate, panicked gaze. "You have 1 week to get your things and get out of my house," I said coldly. "After that, I'll have the sheriff escort you out." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You don't have to do this." I laughed, shaking my head. "You did this to yourself." Then I shut the door in her face. Violet wasn't the only one trying to fix things. My father had also tried to contact me multiple times. Texts, calls, even showing up at my office. I ignored them all. But one night, he caught me off guard. I was at a bar, nursing a whiskey, when he slid into the seat across from me. "Adam, son, we need to talk." I set my glass down, staring at him. The man who had raised me. The man who had betrayed me in the worst way possible. "Don't call me that," I said flatly. A flicker of pain crossed his face. "I messed up, I know. But you can't just cut me out like this. I'm still your father." I laughed bitterly. "A father? A real father doesn't sleep with his son's wife." He looked away, swallowing hard. It wasn't planned. I slammed my glass on the table. Stop saying that. You knew exactly what you were doing. You both did. He ran a hand through his graying hair. I lost control. Good, I said. Then you'll have no control over what happens next. His jaw tensed. What does that mean? I leaned forward. It means I'm done with you. It means that when people ask why I don't speak to my father anymore, I'll tell them the truth. And it means that when I get married again someday, you won't be there. His face paled. You can live with that, I finished, because I sure as hell can. Then I stood up and walked away, leaving him sitting there, alone. Violet spent the next few days begging. She left voicemails, emails, even handwritten letters. But when she received the official eviction notice, reality finally hit her. I came home to find her sitting on the floor in the living room, surrounded by half-packed suitcases. Her eyes were swollen, and she looked completely defeated. I have nowhere to go, she whispered. I crossed my arms. Not my problem, she swallowed. You don't love me anymore, do you? I let out a slow breath, shaking my head. The woman I loved is gone. She let out a sob, covering her face. I hate myself for what I did. Good, I said, because I hate you for it too. With that, I turned and walked away, leaving her to sit in the ruins of what she destroyed. Watching her world crumble wasn't enough. My father, he thought he could walk away from this unscathed? He was wrong, because I wasn't done yet. A month had passed. My wife, ex-wife now, had lost everything. She no longer lived in our luxury home. The house where we once planned our future, where she whispered empty "I love yous" into my ear while secretly betraying me with my own father. Now, she was renting a tiny apartment on the outskirts of town, barely making ends meet. Her bank accounts? Empty. The lifestyle she once flaunted, the designer clothes, the expensive dinners, the lavish vacations, was gone. And the best part? She had turned to my father for help, and he refused. I ran into my father unexpectedly one evening. A random encounter at a cafe downtown. I almost ignored him, but something about the way he looked made me stop. He wasn't the same man he had been a month ago, the confident, arrogant bastard who thought he could take whatever he wanted. He looked tired. His suit, once crisp and immaculate, now looked worn. His shoulders slumped. There was a heaviness in his eyes, a shadow of regret. And when he spoke, his voice lacked the certainty it once held. It was a mistake, he muttered, as if that changed anything. I let out a cold laugh. A mistake? Or just a gamble that didn't pay off? He sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. I didn't think things would turn out like this. Like what? I challenged, leaning back against the counter. Like you losing everything? Like your company crumbling? Like Violet realizing she was nothing more than a passing thrill to you? His jaw tightened. She's not my problem anymore. I smirked. No, she's not. But she sure as hell thought she would be. The downfall of my ex-wife wasn't just financial. She hadn't only betrayed me with my father. She had been cheating on him too. It started as a rumor, one I almost dismissed as too perfect, too ironic. But then I did some digging. And the truth was even better than I expected. Violet had been sleeping with one of her bosses at work for months, a married man, a powerful man. But the day his wife found out, Violet lost her job immediately. She tried to deny it, tried to plead with her employer. But the damage was done. The scandal spread like wildfire, and suddenly, no one wanted to be associated with her. Her connections, gone, her career, destroyed, her reputation, shattered. I didn't lift a finger to make it happen. Karma did all the work for me. It was late one evening when she came to me. I had just finished a workout, the stress of the past month slowly fading from my system, when a knock echoed at my door. The moment I opened it, I knew. She looked like hell. Her once perfect hair was tangled, her makeup smudged from crying. Her clothes, usually pristine, were wrinkled. There were dark circles under her eyes, her face pale. For the first time in her life, Violet looked small, defeated, and she knew it. Adam, she whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't respond, just leaned against the doorframe, watching her. Please, she continued, sniffling. Can we talk? I tilted my head. Talk? Now you want to talk? Her bottom lip quivered. I made a mistake. I laughed, a short, sharp sound. Which one? Sleeping with my father, losing all your money, or thinking I'd ever take you back? She winced as if I had struck her. I don't have anywhere else to go. I raised an eyebrow. Not my problem. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. Adam, please. I know I don't deserve it, but I don't know what to do. I stared at her for a long moment, letting the silence stretch between us. Then I smiled. And I shut the door in her face. I never set out for revenge. Not really. I didn't make calls, I didn't pull strings. I didn't have to lift a single finger to destroy her life. She did that all on her own. She cheated her way through life using people, manipulating them, taking without giving. And when everything came crashing down, she expected someone to save her. But this time, no one did. Not my father, not her boss, not me. She was truly alone. And that was better than any revenge I could have planned. I won't lie. There were nights where the anger still burned, where I thought about what they did and felt the raw ache of betrayal all over again. But every time those thoughts crept in, I reminded myself, I won. I had my life back, my dignity, my freedom. And as for them, they lost everything. I took a deep breath, stepping out onto my balcony, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. For the first time in a long time, I felt at peace.